That is a stunning piece of wood. I would have never thought in a million years that that would have ended up coming out. Don't even see it very well because it's so shiny, the light's reflecting off of it. But I took that bottom. So this is the project. I'm calling it my prehistoric bowl, as you can see from the title. The reason being is because it's old, chunky and rough around the edges, just like me. So, sticky and horrible. So yeah, yeah, nothing else to say really. It's failed. No good. So I'll see you guys next week. Fresh new project, one that works. And take care. Speak to you soon, and bye for now. Good afternoon, or how the devil are you? Hope you're all well. Thank you very much for coming over and joining us for a Sunday lunchtime live. As you can see, Nick's not here because the one and only Brian is here.
It is I.
Nick's not here today, unfortunately. She is out and about, so you've got to put with me and Brian. Sorry, but I'm sure we'll try and entertain you as we can.
Yeah, we'll try.
We'll try our best. So, massive thank you to everybody who came over and said hello yesterday while I was at Newark. It was nice to put some names to faces at last. So. Thank you very much. Good day.
Faces to
yeah,
names,
and
even.
that. Faces to names, names to faces. Same thing, isn't it? So anyway, it was a great day. Really, really good day. I must admit I left early. Left there at 3 o'clock because we'd walked around umpteen times and seen what we could do. It wasn't as big as I expected, to be honest. There wasn't quite as many stores there as I expected. There was a bit of open space, but it was good. Still good. Still a good event to meet up with people and see people there. Nice to catch up with a few people I hadn't seen for a little while. So that was nice. So yeah, very good. So as the channel, or as the thumbnail says, we're going to do some resin casting. Reason being is, first thing is, we was looking on the Chestnut product store yesterday, or stand, and Casey said, "Oh look, Dad, I love a pen blank. Look like a marble pen." So I'm not going to go and buy a blank when I can cast one. So hence why we're going to cast some blanks for pens. So I've got 150mm by 150mm square by about 25mm thick. So we're going to cast. I'm going to try and get a marble mottle effect look, and then I've also cut some pieces of yew that I've had chucked on my bench for a long time, and they're like where they've been cut off of a round piece, so they're like quarters, and I've chopped them into pieces about 100mm long, and I'm going to cast a bowl blank, and then we'll turn it next Sunday, or we'll start to turn it next Sunday. So I'm in the tournament whether I cast it clear so you can see the yew inside it, or do I cast it with colours in it so it's a mottle effect with the yew in it. So I'm going to let you guys decide that. So if it looks mank, I can blame you and not take the responsibility for it. So I've done a mobile cam. So hopefully we can get over on the bench. I've got a cam above the bench, but you're not going to be able to see everything. So I've done a mobile cam so you can see from the side at the same. If we need to, I'll bring them two in together side by side, but I don't know how that'll work. So if you need a better view, shout, and then we'll alter it slightly. Not very often I actually video on the bench, so we'll see how it goes. So I'll make my way over there, and then Brian, if you don't mind, we'll welcome everybody in.
I'll let you know who's in.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So we started off, we had first in today was Colin from Woodwizardry, and then we had Dr. Bob all the way from Detroit, Michigan. We have Roger Kent, Lens Handcrafted Wood Signs, who was being a bit cheeky about you earlier in your thumbnail, I have to
Oh,
say.
I know, cheeky.
Jared, the French wood turner, is in. Roger Kent said that. Andy from Door 60 is in. Chris Dodds, all the way from Australia. Oh, who else? Grandpa Jim's in. I'm just scrolling down here slowly, so trying not to miss anybody. Lord Wilson has joined us. Susie, the Swiss woodturner's in. You sorted out your live then, Susie, when you're going to be doing that? Oops. Who else? Let me see. Did I say Todd from Glencoe? Or did I think I did?
I think you did, yeah.
Doug Miller, Woodspan Round. Hello, everyone. Can't stay but a minute because our time changed this morning. Just want to say hi to you all, though. Well, hi and bye, Doug.
Hi and bye, Doug.
It's okay, though. These are all very. Mark from Shop Dog Woodworks in.
Mark, how you doing, mate?
Oh, who else? There must be more than that. Paul Houghton, the Grisby Turner, is in.
Hi, Paul. Nice to see you yesterday, mate.
Andy, the Valley Wood Turner, Bundy Row, is in.
Hi, Andy.
If Andy's here, Lucy can't be far away.
No, met Andy
Or she's
yesterday as well.
she's
Brian,
dealing with the children.
Brian, I think your mic is connected to your iPad again, mate. Just keep breaking up.
Or do you think it's kind of breaking up, is it?
Yeah, just a little tiny bit every now and again.
Let me just check on that. Joe Senior's in. Paul Finlay, Wood Turning at Home, is in. Maybe I just need a new headset. I don't know.
Any excuse to buy a new headset. Any
switch my iPad off completely. There's the iPad off, so if it's not working now, it's not that. Rex B is in. Maybe Woodshed, Andrew. We're getting near the bottom of the list, I think. Rob from Klingspor's in. Good afternoon, Rob.
All right, Rob, how you doing?
Let's see. Paul Finlay says, hi, Brian. I will need more help later on. Yeah, after the live, Paul, we'll set up a room and we'll have a chat. Not a problem. Lucy's in. I knew she wouldn't be far away.
Good afternoon, Lucy.
Rex B shouting to a thumbs up, people. I haven't started yet. Andy the Woodwork Learner's been bone idle today. He's just waving at people instead of typing names.
Oh, Andy.
Ah, come on, Andy. That's just not good enough, buddy.
You can do better than that. You can do better.
You can do better. That's right. Pete from Twisted Trees.
Hi, Pete.
Michael McEwen. There's loads of people in here. There's 50 people watching currently. Steve Hale, Mike Doyle. I'm getting towards the bottom of the page now, I think. I think that's, did I say Joe Senior? Hi, Joe.
I think you did.
That or not?
I think you did.
I think it did. She's so good you can mention twice. That's fine. There was a gentleman with a pink top who said hello in New York.
Yeah.
Who was the gentleman with the pink top then? Oh, this is a
I can't remember his name. Did he have? Was he quite a large gentleman with like pink in his hair as well, Joe? He came over to me twice and said hello, and I can't for the life of me think who he was.
We've got Alex of Wooden Things as well.
Hi, Alex.
Rob from Cobbler Wood Turning, and Shane Hurst, and that's me at the bottom of the list. There's 53 people watching.
Well, welcome everyone.
If I've missed your name out, stick it in the bottom, guys, and I'll give you a shout out. I didn't mean to miss you out on purpose.
Well, welcome anyway. Right, so I have, this is my mould for my pen blank, 150 mil square, and it's thicker than, it's about 2 inches thick, but I only do about 25 mil because pen blanks are only 25 mil, need to be 25. And then what that does, that gives me able to cut that up into pen blanks. And then this is the other one. So all pieces of yew that I've cut. These are all offcuts I've had over a period of time, was chucked on the bench. So I've cut these. Now these aren't stabilized. They are just natural pieces of wood. I've just rammed that piece in there because that was a bit. I've had a bit of a gap. But what I might do, I might find a piece of round and put a piece of round
Stick
in the
down the
middle.
middle.
Yeah, because it's going to be a waste block. So we'll look at that
Yeah.
afterwards. So that's the second one we're going to do. But the first one I'm going to do.
Just a question about that wood, Stephen. You said it was unstabilized or anything. How dry is it?
It's very dry. It's
Very dry.
I haven't tested it, but it's been on my bench for 2 years.
All right, so it's pretty well dry.
Yeah. So you can see it's starting dry. Right. So
And Joe Senior says he has pinkish hair, Mark. So that's the
yeah.
guy you're talking about.
That's the guy I was talking about, and I can't remember. He did say his name, but I can't remember. Do you know I'm terrible with names? I really am. Right. So
Oh.
what?
Terry Bartlett's in there, and I missed his name.
Hi Terry. How you doing? So first one we're going to do is the pen blanks, because this has not got to go in the pressure pot. I never put my pen blanks in the pressure pot unless I'm putting wood in them. But if I'm putting wood in them, I normally do them like this and coat them in sand and sealer. So this has had 2 coats of sand and sealer. Now all it does is it just helps reduce some of the air bubbles coming out of the wood. Obviously wood is porous, so there's going to be lots of air in it. So if you put it in as a pressure pot, that's not a problem, because you're going to force out the air and it's going to hopefully pass, come through the resin, and as it dries, it's then going to soak the resin into the wood. But when you're doing it in an individual blank like that, obviously it's not under pressure, so the air is going to come out of it, and as the resin cures, it could leave bubbles into it. But I found with a little bit of sand and sealer, it just helps reduce that a little bit. But that's for another project.
Mr. G's joined us.
Hi, Mr. G. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create 2 lots of resin, because I can never remember whether it's 600 or 800 I use for this. I need to write it on the bottom of the mold, really. That'd be a great idea.
It would be.
Yeah. So 0 off that. The resin I'm using is a Dipoxy. This is the resin I always use. Now this is on my Amazon shop store. Link is in the description on my YouTube thing if you want to go and buy some resin. They do it from anywhere from 1 litre up to, 1 kilo. They're all in kilos, not litres. Actually, it says a quarter of a kilo. Right up to 10 kilos and more. I always buy more because it works out cheaper, because I always use it anyway. So it comes in part A and part B, as you can see. So it's 2 to 1. So part A, if you put 100 grams of part A in, it's 50 grams of part B. Some are on mass, or volume, should I say. Epoxy is on weight. It says on weight on the bottle, so we're going to do it in weight. So I'm going to do 350 grams of part A, and then I think that works out 175 grams of part B. So
Susie's asking a pertinent question. She says, "How deep can you pour this one?"
This one, I have poured this in a blank up to, I'll show you the size, the biggest one I've ever poured. I've got a tub here. So I have poured it in a tub that size. I'm going to measure it for you if I get a tape.
It's about 6 inches tall, but it looks good.
So that is 7 inches tall by 5 inches across. I've poured it in one of those and not had any thermal cracking on it. You can get a slow release one. I've got one in there that's a slow cure. That takes up to 3 days to cure. And obviously, if you want to go bigger and deeper, then you can go with that. Right, so 350. Make sure you got gloves. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, there's a suggestion that the guy with the pink hair might have been Nick the Flaming Turner. Is that possible?
No, I don't think it was.
Mark from Shop Dog says that's the only person I know with pink hair.
He had a Tiny Turner t-shirt on. A pink Tiny Turner
t-shirt. Oh.
Yeah, he had a pink Tiny Turner t-shirt on. And when I saw him the second time, he was over talking to Emma, so I didn't know whether he was some of Emma's family, because I know Emma had some of her family there.
All right, okay.
All right, so then we want 175 of this. So this is part B. Get as close as we can get it. Obviously 177, so I'm not going to worry about 2 grams. And we're going to do the same again. So 350.
So you're, just to make it clear to people, you're just measuring that 350 there and then setting the tear to zero your scale again, and then adding the.
Yeah, I've gone over there, so let's do it 400.
This is why you get extra bits that you have to leave to pour in something else.
Yeah, it's a tear. So that'd be 200. I don't like these cups. I hold 650 grams, but I don't like them close to the top because that makes it hard work to mix. So don't think with the resin. If you go on.
Pete from Twisted Tree says, "Was Steve Ash with the pink T-shirt?"
Oh, was it? Oh, right.
No, he says, "Was it?" What? No, he says it was Steve Ash with the pink T-shirt.
Oh, right. Okay. So it was Steve Ash then.
And Benjamin's in.
Hi, Ben Eden.
And he says, "Oh, it's Resin. I'm out. Bye, everyone."
Right. So with this, you want to be stirring this for 3 or 4 minutes. So I have, well, the dust off the timers. A couple of timers here.
Charlie Taylor's in, as is Norman Greenwell.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all well.
We've now got 62 watching.
Wow. Thank you very much, everybody. So I'm going to mix this with a drill because it cuts the time down just a little tiny bit. Just got to make sure you don't get loads of air in it, so you need to keep it low speed. And so I'm starting my timer. The reason being is I've got around about 45 minutes for this. So that'll give me a rough idea on my time I have left when it's going to start to cure. So what I'm doing is I'm gently moving that up and down, but I'm not bringing the paddle out of the resin because that will cause air bubbles.
Yeah, that'll just drag air into it.
Yeah. So what is when you mix your part A and part B together, that'll go a little bit misty to start with, and then as it mixes, it'll go more transparent. This epoxy has got a slight, real slight yellow tinge to it. It's not absolutely crystal clear, because the one I put pigments in, I don't use the crystal clear because I don't really see the point. If I'm doing clear, then I will use the clear one. But the reason I use this one mostly is because this is a bit cheaper than the clear one.
Right, okay. But it's perfect for putting colours in.
Exactly. Well, you can see it's not majorly, it's just got a little tiny slight yellow tinge to it. It's not a major amount, but you don't notice it with the colours. But obviously if you're doing it something that's transparent, then you need it perfectly clear. So we're just going to spend 3 or 4 minutes mixing these up, making sure we get them well mixed, because if they're not mixed, they won't cure properly.
Go off.
Most important part of resin is making sure you get everything mixed up really well, because if not, you'll get parts that cure and parts that don't cure. You'll see quite a lot of people who do resin, if they're doing big pours, they'll have 2 or 3 tubs and they'll keep mixing it in between the tubs, so they get a constant mix between the whole lot. So I'm not going to worry about it too much, because obviously we're only doing a small pour.
Andy the Woodwork Learner says an old spade bit with the point ground off also makes a good stirrer.
Yeah. Spoon is good and all. You get a spoon and
spoon, yeah.
Put in your drill.
You can buy the stirrers for next to nothing anyway on Amazon and eBay and places.
Yeah, and they're silicone, so that the resin just comes off them. But acetone will clean resin off anyway. So. We're just going to go a little bit quicker.
That's Doug away. He's had to go.
See you later, Doug. Thanks for coming over.
So the North Americans have changed their clocks today.
When does ours go back? Next weekend?
26th.
Oh, right, so the weekend after.
2 weeks away, I think. And Len is asking, what do you clean your mixer with?
Acetone. I'll put acetone into a pot and just mix it up in a pot. I will show you in a second.
Yep. Somebody asked earlier in the chat how my foot was doing, and touch wood and fingers crossed, it feels a whole lot better today than it did 2 days ago. but I'm taking stronger painkillers now, so maybe that's got something to do with it. And Lucy wants to know, where can you buy acetone these days?
I got mine from the builders merchants because of when I do the fiberglass roofing. That's what we used to wash all our tools with.
Yeah.
But nail varnish is acetone. Nail varnish remover, should I say, is acetone.
Acetone.
You can buy it on Amazon, I think, can't you? Acetone.
Sure you can. I'm just having a quick search. Yep, you can buy pure acetone acrylic nail polish remover in a 5-litre container or a 1-litre container from Amazon. 5 litres of pure acetone, 99%, is £19.99 on Amazon. There's another company called Frost, which do industrial grade industrial grade acetone. That's only 500 millilitres now. That's only half a litre.
Yeah.
And that's £5.99. So I would be buying the
gallon
one at 19 quid, I would think. So if you just quick Google, that's just a quick Google search, guys. So it's there and it's easily available. There's a place there. It says mbfg.co.uk. Fiberglass specialist.
Right, that's 5 minutes. So what I'll do is just let it drip off.
But theirs is quite expensive too, I have to say.
So this is the stuff I use. This is what we use for cleaning off fiberglass off of our tools when we've done roofing. This tough stuff acetone. These are, you can buy these in gallons or 25 litres, whatever you want to buy, but this is plenty good enough to wash off this resin.
Shane Hurst reckons that paint supply stores also will be a place to buy it.
Yep.
You're absolutely right. It's freely available, I think.
Depends on the limits of your country where you live in, really.
Mark from Shock Dog says Belfast MBFG, great company for supplies. There you go. Mm-hmm. There's lots of places to buy it. It's not difficult to buy these days.
Right, so let's go on this other camera, and you'll see the.
I was looking more at that timer thing because I've got a timer on my iPad. What do I need to buy a timer for?
Yeah, them timers are about £4 each. They're not.
No.
Huge amount of money. Right, so.
Talk me into
it. So just make sure we got this. Right.
No, I like buying tools.
I like them because they're magnetic. You just stick them on the side and just be done with it. You know what I mean? Right, so we've mixed that for. Go on.
That's strange. Lucy has just said nail varnish doesn't generally have acetone in it anymore.
All right.
Well, if you just search for acetone anyway, you'll be able to buy it on Amazon. No bother at all.
So we need a white and a black. Obviously, we don't want 50% white, 50% black, because if we do, that's going to end up with a massive amount of one colour. So we only want a small amount of black. So I'm just going to try and step over this camera and get a smaller pot.
Yeah, don't knock it down.
Always a lead in the way.
Yeah, Len's saying time changes means got to leave early. I will go back and watch the rest later. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks, Len.
Thank you very much, Len, for coming on. Right, so what I'm going to do is I've got a small little cup here. I'm just going to pour a little bit of this into this cup of the black I think I need, because obviously we're doing a mottle effect, so we don't need a great amount of black. So that will do. So the rest of that is going to be white. They're going to be white. That's going to be black. So now we need some colours. So I've got a pearl white here, but that's not really white. So I'm going to try and find another white pigment, which is this one here. So we've got white pigment there, and then we've got a black. It's a silver black, so have a slight shimmer in it. So we've got those. So we will put these in. Let's do the white ones first, because they're going to take the most to mix. So I normally mix my colours in with a stick. So just a stirring stick. These are just normal paint mixing sticks. So we will. Never been opened. Look. At least it has.
Brand new.
So just get a.
So Mark from Shock Dog says, if it were me, I'd pour the white and then just put the black on the end of a stirrer.
That was what I was thinking. Oh, the black. Well, yeah, that I was thinking about pouring all the white in, and then just getting a bit of black on my stick and just wiggling it in. That's what I was going to do.
That's
Is that what he
that's
means?
exactly what. Yep, that's exactly
Alright.
what he's saying. Yep. Ruby Claire's joined us.
Hi, Ruby. How are you?
You're not late, Ruby. You changed the clocks last night.
So as you can see, there's a little bit of a pearly shimmer on that. So hopefully, as we mix it up, that should have like a little bit of a white shimmer on it. Making sure we mix up well, because we don't want, as you can see there now, you've got little bits in it, but we need to
lumpy bits.
Yeah, they should all go once you start mixing it up. If we need to, we'll get the power mixer on it, but we shouldn't have to. That should all break up.
I was just going to say you could mix it up with your little.
Yeah.
Ooh, Pete from Twisted Tree says, question. Can you use the gold ink in resin?
We had this conversation. Me and Brian had this conversation the other night. That's something we're good. If we get time, we will try. We'll try if we get time.
Want to have a little test on that? He thinks.
So just mix that. As you can see, that's a nice pearl white. So we'll let that stand for a few seconds, and we'll mix it up a bit more. Do the same with this one. Might put a little bit too much pigment in there, but.
And Andy Woodward Learner says that resin doesn't like water-based stuff.
You can't say that, Andy. I did the Hampshire Sheen colours, and that took absolutely perfect.
And they are water-based. Although I have read in places that you should never, resin and water before it sets should never mix. You should never contaminate your resin with water. I did read that in some places. I just wonder if that's specific to different types of resin or not. I don't know.
You say the ones I did with the Hampshire Sheen Intrinsics, they came out really well.
Barry, Wood Dunning with Barry is in. He says, good afternoon, everybody. What's Steve up to today? He's doing an introduction to resin pouring.
So just mix these up well.
Which is very good for me, I have to say. I have all the stuff to do the resin now. I just haven't done it yet.
As you would say, Barry's got all the gear but no idea.
Because I'm just a chicken. I need a melamine top for my table first.
You don't need a melamine top. You just buy a silicon mat.
Silicon mat.
So as you can see now, all the bits have gone in there. So just make sure.
McEwen says that urethane resin doesn't go with water. And Mark Harvey has also said you can get water-based resins, organic. They are now.
You can get water-based pigments as well.
Peter says, so today, Steve, it's mostly killing turtles.
Oh, yes.
And Rob from Klingsport says, silicon mat, $12.99.
There you
go. Okay, so it's a silicon mat I have to get then. All right, I'll have a look at that.
Right, so
I notice that you don't care, Steve. You're just doing it on your bench.
Well, this bit of plywood cost me nothing 20 years ago, so
yeah,
I'm not going to worry about it too much. And
then you much then, does
it? All I do every day again is get the orbital sander on and just sand it.
Yeah, give it a rub back.
Right, so we want a bit of black in this one.
Oh, Robert Brockwood asked a question. Could you use Emma's coloured flakes or dust in resin?
Emma's flakes may be a good idea.
Sure, you could.
But obviously, depending on how many you're going to use, because obviously them flakes are quite expensive. So you don't really want to be wasting them, do you? But we'll again, if we get a chance, we'll just do a small little test pot and see how they come out.
Exactly. Robert, what did Robert say? Yeah, Marcus said, yes, Robert, they're ideal for resin. He's talking about the flakes. Yeah, Emma's flakes.
They look really cool, wouldn't they? And all.
They will, aye.
Right, so...
I see Wendy does lots of things with little sort of glitters and flakes and all sorts of stuff in her resin.
So we've been going... Go on, sorry.
Go ahead, mate. No, go ahead.
So we're going 13 minutes now, so we've still got at least a good 50 or 30 minutes. So there's no rush with resins. Obviously, some of them have got a shorter life open time than others. But you see so many people rush around trying to get things right, and you mean if I was just to pour the white in now and then put my black in, as it heats up, it's gonna cause it to mingle and they just end up with like a grey mess. So you need to give it the chance as it starts, not so it's stiff, but you need to get it so it's the right time. Checking the temperature, making sure that you get that time correct, so they don't. You want the solid colours, but you don't want them to mingle together. Does that make sense?
It does.
So just look at the air coming in now.
So basically, what you're saying there is you're going to let the white kind of almost set a little bit before you drag the other colour through it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it so it's solid, obviously, but I'm gonna do it so it's.
That would be.
But you can see the air coming in there where we've mixed it. You can see the air coming in. So what I'm gonna do is just get a little blowtorch, if it lights up. Yeah. No, not because it won't light. It's obviously out of gas. And we'll just pop those air bubbles. So just fill this back up.
Andy says he tends to rush. And he also said that glitter works really well and it's cheap as well. It is. Glitter's cheap as chips.
Yeah, I've got loads of glitter. Oh, there we go. That's better. Now it's full of gas. So I'm just going to get a little tiny blowtorch, just pop the air bubbles. Oops.
Oh. You're right, a gas buddy. Oh, no.
Seems very, very aggressive this morning. I'm not really as aggressive as that.
I have a little one of those too. It's like the chefs. It's one of like little chefs burners.
It's like a flamboyant, what are they called? What are they called? Flamboyant.
Flambe.
That's the one. Flambe. That's the word. Right, so we're going to leave those to...
Robert Brooks was asking a question. He says, does it not also depend on the temperature, Steve? I think this is for mixing the colours together.
Yeah, because obviously the warmer... resin relies on temperature to cure. So obviously the warmer it is in the workshop, the quicker it's going to cure. So it's only 20 degrees in here, so it's not massively hot in here today. So that's 28, that's 27... That's 24. So we're going to wait till they get up to about 80 degrees, and then we're going to pour. You're better off leaving in a pot because the more volume, the quicker that'll gently warm up. So we're just going to leave those for a few minutes to start to warm up. And then I think
Pete has just put a link in the chat there for the silicone mats, and currently on Amazon there's a deal on. You get 23% off. 3 40 centimetre by 30 centimetre mats for £9.99.
That's good.
I'll be back in a minute once I've ordered that.
I've got one here. It's, they are really thin and flimsy.
Yeah.
But they are good because they do the silicone just peels off, or the resin just peels off of them. But like I say, I don't use it very often because my bench is naffed anyway, so it don't really matter. So if I put a new top on my bench, I might change my mind.
Right. Maybe. Possibly. But don't bet on it.
It's only wood, isn't it? Stand down. So, shall we mix up? We'll mix up the other set for the other one while we're waiting for those.
While we're waiting for them to go off a wee bit.
So this one I'm going to need quite a bit for that one. I reckon I'm going to mix up. Oh, how much do I need for that one? Let's get a wood blank for the middle first.
Yeah, get an old bit of paint or something in the middle.
Yeah, see if I've got a waste block.
Could you just stick a bit of like PVC piping down the middle and?
No, because you need to have something that you can fix to, don't you?
I need to be solid in the middle, right now.
Yeah, so it wants to be a decent bit of wood, but not something that's going to cost you a fortune. So
yeah,
I've got an old bit of.
I'm sure we all have crap bits of pine lying about that we've used for practice that we could use.
Yeah, definitely.
I certainly do, for sure.
So okay, I've got a piece of ash here. This will do. No, not that bit.
Oh, ash.
Trouble is, it doesn't want to really have anything on it, so you can. Oops, that's got a mortise in it. That ain't no good.
You've got mortise. You're already. You've got a mortise built in. Yeah, just leave it there.
That's all right as long as it's in the middle, isn't it?
Just make sure it's in the middle. You'll be all right.
So I've got a bit of ash here. So it's got mortise in it, but I'll turn it that way.
Yeah.
But that's a bit big, really.
That's a bit.
It's a bit big. If not, I'll just fill it with resin. That'd be the easiest way, I think. I think I'll just fill it with resin. That'd be fine.
All right.
That'd be fine. So
Do you not have to tape them down so they're not going?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will. What I'll do is I'll put a bit of tape on them so they. So
that plastic bucket you're using, Steve, is what? Where did you get that plastic?
This is just a normal mixing bowl from
all right, okay.
the right Elsa's.
From the range or somewhere?
No, it's come. We've got a local discount place called Elsa's.
All right, okay.
And it's come from there. So
just a pound shop or something like that.
Yeah, just a plastic mixing bowl, really.
Yep.
Nothing special.
And if it's cheap, it doesn't really matter if you have to destroy it to get it out.
No, normally with mixing bowls, that will pop out.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if I'll get all them in there, really. Oh, might do. I'm trying to get it so I've got some gaps around it, so they're not pushed together. Make it a little bit more interesting.
No, you don't have to get them all in, Steve.
No, I know, but I don't really want to
leave one of the smaller ones out.
I'll do that because we get a little bit more resin in there then.
There you go.
So that'll be all right. That'll be okay. Time we clean off that edge. Just trying to get them so they're in. No, I don't really want the square edges together. That's the trouble.
Hmm.
That'll do. Like I say.
That's it. That's all we're doing. We're done.
That's as good as it's going to get. Right, so I reckon I'm going to want at least 1.5 kilos of resin for that. So I have 2 tubs there, roughly 600 grams in each. So we'll do 3 of those. And what I'll do is I'll do over. So at the end, we've got some stuff to play with for these bits we want to try. So part A, again, we're going to go 350 on each one. Does that say battery low? That's typical, isn't it?
Oh, it's always the way, isn't it?
It's typical, that is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe you should buy one with a power cord and then not yet that kind of thing wouldn't happen.
Yeah. That's all right as long as I've got a spare battery, isn't it?
Kitchen timers. Oh, they're a fortune, Steve. I've just looked them up on Amazon. They're an absolute fortune.
What's that? Timers?
Yeah.
2032.
That one you're sitting at, the one I'm sitting looking at is now at 24 minutes on your is £3.99.
I told you they weren't expensive.
Fortune.
Well, if you need to, Brian, I'll sub you to your next pension day.
Oh, jeez, thanks, man. Appreciate that.
All right, new battery. Let's get a new battery in there. Got to be that. At least I ain't had these scales very long because my other ones were covered in resin. I couldn't see the number on them. There you go. Right, let's try again. Give it. Right, so 350. Part A. 344. Ooh, 56. They're enough for me. Mother's Day next weekend, isn't it? Next Sunday.
Piece of cheeky, but Brian's aging eyes need them to be bright so as he can find them. Thanks very much.
Right, so let's put one.
Benjamin says, Brian, go for the 60 centimetre ones. Oh, no more.
175.
Mark the shop dog has said, depending on the type like make of resin, they will all have differing times to where you can keep colour separation.
Yeah.
The good news is there's a lot of content out there, so it will be easy to find out. There is indeed lots of videos and stuff about resin. And
I mean, don't get me wrong, aluminite is really good, but it's just so damn expensive.
it's very, very expensive. Isn't it?
It's all right if you're doing it and you're selling it, and you know
Mike Doyle wants to know: do you warm your moulds up?
no,
No.
I don't.
And Andrew from AGK is in. Good
Hi,
afternoon,
Andy.
Andrew. So Andy has also said, don't think unmixed resin has gone off if it's too cold. You can usually rescue it by gently warming it in a water bath.
Yeah, no, yeah. If the stuff
Oh,
I've got here,
that's
the stuff I've got here, if it goes too cold, it goes cloudy. But if you warm it back up, it's fine.
all right. I did see somebody. I watched somebody. I can't remember who it was now. Who stores his stuff on a little heated mat in the winter time.
Yeah.
What was that question? I just missed a question there. Find it. Chad just jumped about half a mile then. Andy's put in a safety message here. He says, safety hint, mixing resin in a well-ventilated place, mask and gloves recommended. Safety message over.
Who was that? Andy? Bundy
Andy.
Row?
No, Andy the woodwork learner.
All right. This stuff don't really smell that much, to be honest. It smells a little hint of almonds. That's the chemicals in it that's going to kill me, but I know, but...
Andy says, you should just use your iPhone, Brian, because that's all they're good for. Okay.
Oh.
Would tell him what Barry says. It's about time you started chopping carrots. No, it's not. And Mark the shop dog, as regards to warming your resin up again if it's a bit cold, he says, best advice, only warm up part A in a water bath.
Yeah.
That's exactly who it would be. It would be Zach Higgins, says Michael McEwen. That's correct. That's who it was. And Mark says, not when it's mixed, otherwise it could be, you could risk a flash cure. It's getting more technical by the minute.
If my resin is, if that's really, really cold, obviously if your workshop's really cold, I warm up my resin before I mix it. So I'll measure up what I want. I'll get a hot air gun, just gently warm it up with a hot air gun, stir it as I'm warming it, and then do that with both parts, and then mix both parts together. Not so they're hot, just so they're not so stiff.
Yeah, okay. Just bring them back to being more fluid.
Yeah. Right, so the choices are we leaving this clear, or are we colouring it? This is for the
I think we should put a light colour, a light colouring in it, so it's not too dark.
Just a hint of colour.
Yeah, just a hint of a colour, I think. What does the chat think? Remember, it's going in with you.
And me.
Andy's just explained to me what a flash cure means. I think I got that, Andy. He says it's when resin cures too fast. I kind of got that with the expression flash.
He's indestructible.
Yeah, colour, but still translucent. Yep, that's for Mark's job dog. Woodrow Collins says a bit of pale yellow or red.
I think yellow wouldn't look right with you, would it? That's used quite
Susie
yellow.
says maybe a very little bit of white pearl. Is it pearlescent stuff? Woodward Learner says colour but translucent. Todd wants it chartreuse. And Martin's in. Hi, Martin. I never noticed you coming in. And he wants it in orange.
Orange.
Yeah, that's Martin Savannah Smith we're talking about.
Hi, Martin.
He says orange. Robert Brockwood says red.
Translucent colours though, so we can still see the U.
Yeah, it has to be translucent. You can't overpower the U, surely.
Steve, not Shirley.
Roy the boys in, he said, good afternoon everyone. Can't stay long as at a family dinner. Enjoy your dinner, Roy. Chris Dodd says yellow and black, possibly. I think you're in the wrong channel, Chris. Kevin 9K says, where's Roy? Question mark. Plum.
Yeah, plum. We always want plum.
He does. Ruby Claire says black and purple.
I actually like the idea of the pearlescent. Maybe maybe a little bit of red, translucent red, or orange, red or orange, with a bit of pearlescent mixed in.
Barry says you better be listening to Martin. He knows, you know.
Especially about colours. Right, so just going to give these one more mix each, and then they will be ready. Still, don't know if there's enough resin.
Ben Chapman says, top tip, if you mix iron brew in with your colours and mix, you'll get a tartan effect. Yeah, right, Ben Chapman. I'm glad Martin's in because I logged into the Hampshire Sheen finishing course today. Started working my way through that.
Right, so
Roy the boy says, question, what's the wood in the pot? Roy, where have you been? The wood in the pot is you.
Right, so let's have a look at colours. Right, so we want translucent colours, so we want these ones. What did we say? Orange and yellow.
Mark's, yeah, Mark has just said, I'm a fan of translucent orange, as it usually ends up looking like amber. There you go.
That'll go well with the U. Maybe I have to go into a new box. I think I might have used
Susie has said, if colour, then better something blue with you. I think orange and red would clash with the U colour. Well, that's possible, yeah.
I can't find translucent orange. Where the hell's that gone?
Yeah, I'm only doing it, Martin, because I need it badly. The finishing course.
Every colour by the one I want.
Oh, no. I know you've just got here, Roy. I'm just winding you up, son. Just winding you up.
Coffee. Ooh. Green. Purple. Purplish red.
Ruby's asking Lewis, has he got the snow yet?
Right, so we've got a bit of orange.
We've had our snow. We've had our snow. It's all gone. None here at all now. And Rob from Copper Wood Turning says it's snowing again here. Oh. Yeah, surely not, yeah.
Right.
Caller suggested purple or violet. And Marcus said blue and you, question mark.
That's a bit.
So what have we decided? Oh, orange.
Just a little bit of orange.
We've gone with the orange, folks.
Then I think I'm going to do, because that will dilute down anyway, because I'm going to leave one clear. So,
okay.
And then just a little bit of pearl. Only a tiny little bit of pearl in the other one. Just a little tiny bit of pearl, not a lot. Because this goes a long, long way.
Right, the boy says, "You wait till you're live, and I'm there, Brian." Lol. It's okay, Roy. I can take the abuse. I get plenty from my earworms. Never mind the chat.
That's just a little bit of pearl.
Good afternoon, Lewis. I neglected to say Lewis was in.
All right, Lewis, how you doing?
And he says, "Not yet, Ruby, but it's coming." That's the snow he's talking about.
So then I think I'll leave the other one clear, then that'll dilute them both down. So put these back in the drawer out of the way.
So Rob's complaining that he gets 10 inches of stone, then it melts, and then 4 inches of stone, then it melts. So he's not sure what we'll get today, but I'll bet it melts the next day.
Right, so let's check the temperature on these.
Lucy says it's cloudy and overcast where she is today.
So that's not
Andy says it's nice and sunny. That must be Andy's in Yorkshire, isn't he? Nice and sunny.
Yeah,
Apparently that's God's country. I've heard some people say Yorkshire, God's country.
Nick messaged me earlier and said that was nice and sunny where she was.
Hmm.
Right, so pressure pot. Let's get this one poured because this one doesn't really matter because obviously the colours are going to mingle into whatever they're going to mingle into. So pressure pot.
Todd of Glen Cove would just put up hashtag Brian turns resin live.
He's done that already.
Brian has already turned resin live. I turned a resin egg if you want to go back and have a look.
So what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna put some tape over this because if not, this wood's gonna float.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
So we're gonna tape this down, and then because I can't get my fingers in the pot, I'm gonna have to put the blank in first, and then pour the resin in the top.
Oh, in the pot. All right, okay.
So.
That sounds like a recipe for a mess to be.
Wow, it will be what it will be.
Leaping Lemur Craftworks. Whoever that is, I have no idea who Leaping Lemur Craftworks is, but they're here.
But welcome.
Late to the party. What resin are you using?
Epoxy.
It's epoxy.
So making sure we tape this down well, because if not, that will float. And then we'll end up with just a mess of resin in the bottom and a float stuck to the top. I mean, the wood stuck to the top. So we're going to drop that in there like that.
Yeah, is that the 2K700 that you're using there, Steve, that resin?
Yes, 2K700. Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to pour our orange in first. I don't know if this is enough, but if it's not, then we'll put some clear over the top of it. So we're just going to pour this over. Try not to get too much on the tape. And as it cures, I'm hoping that the pearl is nowhere near enough resin in that 1.5 kilos for that.
Is there not? Oh
No.
dear.
Right, so then we're going to pour the pearl over even.
Yep.
As you can see now, the wood is starting to lift. So that should, I might not be far off actually.
Lewis says, premonition. Resin runs down the tape and into the pot. Ask me how I know that.
Yeah. I'm now scraping it off the tape because that's now starting to happen, Lewis.
Uh-oh. I've started a war. Woodbury by Collins says Wales is God's country, and so has Leaping Lemur Craftworks. Well, see, the way I heard it when I used to be training in Wales is that Wales was the dumping ground for everything that was left over when he made England, apparently. That's why there's so many hills in it.
So we're just going to fill this up. Oh, it might be enough. Could be
So I've
lucky.
just put the link in for Depoxy DE for that exact resin that Steve's using. But if you want to buy some and not buy it direct from Germany, use the link in Steve's description to his Amazon shop and you'll get it from there. And Steve will get a little bit of a backhander from Amazon.
Yeah, you don't pay no more. It's just that
No, you don't pay any extra. It's just the same price.
I just get a little bit of a bonus from Amazon.
Yeah, it's an affiliate thing, isn't it?
which just helps the channel. So thank you all very much.
Mark says you could suggest that you could also, if you want your wood to stick in a particular place in your pot, you could also use a hot glue gun to stick it in.
You can.
You're sticking it in the bottom and you want to make a pattern or something.
Yep.
Use a hot glue gun. Yep.
But that's floated now, so hopefully that's going to give me some nice, unusual, because obviously it was all just upright, so hopefully that's going to make it a little bit more interesting. Right, so we're going to put the lid on that.
We're telling about Barry says God's country is Essex.
Essex. So I've got my.
The only way is Essex, yeah. Not.
So we're just gonna.
I live in God's country.
We all live in God's country.
Apparently.
So this is going to go up to 50 psi.
That's the same point as I've got, Steve.
Is it? Oh.
Yep.
You must have got a copy link from somewhere then.
I think I did.
So making sure it's nice and tight. Now this is only a paint pot. I haven't got a proper resin pressure pot, so I just use a paint pot, which I've adapted. So what I've done is I'll bring this camera back on. What I've done is I've just converted it, which I will show you.
Ooh.
So all I've done is I have put on it a decent quality pressure regulator with a relief valve, which drops off below than the rating of the pressure pot, and then I've got a second gauge. So this gauge gives me pressure that's going in and what the regulator is set at, and this gauge gives me the actual pressure pot pressure. So let's just build this up to 50 psi.
Douglas Mang has joined us.
Hi Douglas. Now you don't want to ram your air in really quick. I always let my air in trickle in a little bit slower, because I always find if you ram it in really quick, it could go down and splash the resin everywhere, because obviously it's going into this inlet here. So let it fill up slowly. And then the regulator is set for 50 or just over 50 psi. So I'll let it trickle just over 50 psi, and then I'll shut it off. And then I'll leave it a few minutes and see if the pressure drops, because obviously the air is being forced out. If the pressure drops, then I'll just top it up and then release it, or release the air, lock the airline off, release it, and then there you go. That's just over 50 psi. So that's now finished filling. So I'll just shut it off, leave it a couple of minutes, and then if it drops a little bit, then what I'll do is I will just top it up, and once it's topped up, I'll then release, lock the pressure off. Oh, excuse me. I always put mine to 60. Oh, I thought it was 50, Mark.
Yeah, Mark says that anything above 45 psi should shrink the bubbles, and he puts his at 70, but it doesn't need to be.
No, he said 60.
Says, sorry, I meant 60.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that pressure pot that you're using there, Steve, there is a recommended maximum pressure on it, isn't there?
There is. I don't know what it is because I've had it for such a long time, but I would imagine it's 100 psi. I would imagine the canister's rated to 100 psi. Let's put it that way. But obviously you need to know, because you don't want to be going over the rating of the tub, because that will
exactly.
It will explode.
Yeah, you need to be clear about that. If you're getting a pressure pot, you need to know what the maximum pressure of your pot is, and it will tell you in the manufacturer's guidelines.
And because they're
never exceed it.
And because they're a Chinese pot, buy yourself a decent regulator with a proper relief valve on it. What's rated at lower than the pot, because if that pressurizes, that's just like a fragment grenade going to go off. It's going to go everywhere.
That's exactly right.
And it's going to cause a lot of damage. So we're going to put that over there carefully out of the way. I'm going to leave that now for 24 hours. I'll come back to that tomorrow, so that clock can now stop, because we don't need that clock no more. Just go there out of the way. So now
Lewis is suggesting there that there's two suggestions here. As long as it's over 45 psi, and that's from Market Shop Dog, and Lewis has said a lot of the paint pots are 80 psi maximum.
Yeah.
And Colin says, could you use a car tire pump to pressurize the pot?
As long as it's regulated and you're building the pressure up, there's nothing really.
Why not?
No, as long as it's a little. The only thing you got to be careful with some of the tire pressure machines they're not really designed for long-term running. So you're fine with some of the cheaper little car inflating pumps that you get for your car. They get really hot, and after a short period of time of keep running, they just seize. So you perhaps, I'm no disrespect, you can buy like a little mini 25 litre compressor now for about £100. You're perhaps better off making the investment if you're going to do it and buying one of those, because it's got a 25 litre receiver tank on it. So you can use it for multiple things. You could use it for airbrushing, this sort of thing, air lining your workshop, several different things where if you buy a pump, a decent pump's going to cost you £30-40, and you can use it for one thing or two things, pumping up your tyres and doing that. So to me, I'd personally rather invest in a mini little tiny compressor.
That's what I've got.
I'm sure Screwfix and Toolstation do them for about £100.
125 quid, I think I paid for mine.
There you go. So I had a little mini one years ago when I used to do a lot of fencing with an air nail gun. And then obviously, as time moves on, you buy a gas gun. So, but that was perfect. That was a lovely little compressor. It ran and ran and ran and ran.
Yeah, Michael McEwen says the maximum pressure rating is often sort of cast into the top of the lid.
Yeah, I don't know if it's on that one. Is it? Might be. It's got that much dust on it. No, it's not on the. I'm not on the lid of that one. Oh, hang on. No, it's just the make of it. But like I say, when you buy it, just as long as it exceeds 60 psi, what you're going to go to, then you should be fine.
Yep.
Right, so these are now warming up. So these are now 36.
It's just one of those infrared sensors you're using, isn't it?
Yeah, just a little
laser
infrared thermostat. So I'm just going to give them a little bit longer. So you can add.
Who says it takes a lot of air to pump it by hand?
Yeah, little
I
foot
can
pump.
imagine one of them old-fashioned foot pumps. You remember that?
Yeah, my granddad had one of those in the boot of his car.
Yeah.
So we're going to let that warm up a little bit more. So while we're waiting for that to warm up just a little bit more, we'll just mix a little bit more resin up, just so we can do these trials with these pigments and these water-based dyes that we're getting from the range, because I'm intrigued to see how they come out.
Paper Lemur Craftwork says what you have to understand is once you've modified the pot, the factory rating goes out of the window. Well, exactly right, because you've modified it.
Yep.
45 pounds of pressure is all you need for what we do. And that's what Mark says as well. So if you get above 45, you're grand. You don't need to over pressurize it.
So that's 50, 125.
Mark says that sprayequipment.co.uk do pots and compressor packages. Also, sprayequipment.uk supply House of Resin, their pots.
Oh, wow. That's all the House of Resin. All the resin ones are modified paint ones that are already been pre-modified. That's all they are, isn't it? And repainted. Right, let's mix this up.
Just going to have a look at the spray equipment.
House of Resin pots are like 400 quid, aren't they, for a pressure pot from House of Resin?
I'm just having a quick look here.
So we'll just mix this up, and then what we'll do is we'll get those in that mould there, ready for our pen blanks, and then we'll do some trials with these new Camellia colours, and also these water-based dyes or inks we're getting from the range to see how they come. Now, a lot of people, like earlier said, you shouldn't really be mixing water in with resin. Some of the actual pigments you buy for resin is water-based. And like I said, I did the trials with the Hampshire Sheen intrinsics, and they came out nice. I think there was one colour that didn't really take properly, but the orange, the red, and the blues all worked well. So it just proves you can mix water in with it. So we're going to mix this.
There we go. So that sprayequipment.co.uk, I've do pressure pots. And the 20 litre tank is £415.95.
That's designed for resin, yeah?
That's resin model moulding pressure tank, 20 litre. Specifically designed for resin.
What size tanks are these in, Brian, that we got?
5
litre?
10, I think, are they not?
Are they? I don't know, I'm not sure.
I'll find out.
So I've just finished mixing that off. Alright, so that should be about mixed.
I actually thought I'd bought mine off Amazon, but I didn't. Mustn't have done. So I bought it from eBay or somewhere.
You got it from eBay?
Now.
You got it from eBay?
I think I did.
Right, so that's now warming up nicely. Right, so I'm going to pour the white into my mould. Now I've got to watch because... Where's that gone? There. So there's a little tiny hole in the side here, and that's my mark to where I go up to.
So Mark has mentioned that if you phone them, you can try and get a deal. You got 10% off on free delivery just for blagging it on the phone. Good man, Mark. I like the sound of that. Martin says he thinks it was plum that didn't quite work.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it went like really pixelated or like really grainy, I think it was. One of them went really grainy, but all the others worked fine.
And Mark has popped in the link for sprayequipment.co.uk.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Right, so that's the white. So we're going to let that go just a little bit longer, and then we're going to just put some wiggly lines of black on that to try and give us our... My phone's going mint with my pocket. Try and get rid of... trying to create some sort of mottled, marbly look.
Yeah. So Michael McCune is saying if you're using a Lumilite clear, any moisture will cause a reaction.
Yeah.
So
like I said,
obviously the moisture's not affecting the epoxy the same as it does with Lumilite.
No, like I say, I've never used a Lumilite because it's just too expensive for my liking. And like I said, if I was selling it, then that wouldn't be a problem. But I don't. All I really use resin for is for myself, unless I make blanks for people.
Yeah, Andy Woodland says, some stuff mixes better with others, e.g. some alcohol colours don't work, and some do. Trial and error to find out what works, unfortunately.
Yep.
Well, the good thing about YouTube is there are a lot of people out there who are doing the trialing, and if you can have a look and see, you would know.
Right, so move that out of the way. Let's put them scales away before I get resin all over them ones as well.
Do you have a video, Steve, on converting your pressure pot?
No, I don't think I did, because I think I did it before I was really...
okay.
No, I don't think there is. I should have done, really, but... If someone wants to send me one, I'll do one. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nod, nod.
I think I didn't pay an awful lot for my pressure pot either. Andy says he got his pressure pot for about 80 quid.
Yeah.
With about another 20 quid for extra for the fittings that you require.
Yeah, I think when I bought mine,
something like that.
The pot was under £100. I think with all the stuff I did to it and the pot that came in, maybe just over 100 quid. I know the pots are a little bit more money now, because obviously everything's gone up, isn't it? Yeah. So, but I think these pigments, these ones are water-based, I believe. These HTV or HT Vont, they're water-based. And they mix with the epoxy resin. There's a video on on my channel about those because I did all those gummy bears with those. These ones are spirit based. Again, a really good pigment. Oops, chuck them on the side. But depending on what you want to do, really, if you want solid colours or if you want translucent colours, if you want a translucent colour, then you really need to obviously use a liquid. If you want a solid colour, then you want a powder, really. Right.
Mark has put in for all the stuff folks see I've made on Instagram. I have a ton of stuff that has not worked, oblique failed, etc. Yep, indeed.
Indeed.
That's just how it goes. Michael McCune says, for a conversion video, see Zach Higgins or Jake Thompson.
Yep.
Hey guys produce good stuff. They do indeed.
It's a little bit too much. This bench is slightly on.
So I'm just looking on eBay here at these. I think these are 10-litre pressure pots we have, Steve.
Right. Okay.
And they're roughly 100 quid.
So I got
111, 116, that sort of price.
They're a little bit more than what they were before. But
yeah.
So I've got a question for Mark quickly. So Mark, I'm thinking get my stick on a bit on the stick, wiggle it about, and then just run it through my resin. Am I right thinking that way?
I think that's what Mark said in the beginning.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because I don't want too much in it, because if I do, then that's going to go a manky grey colour, which I don't really want. I think I mixed up a bit too much white.
Lewis has said the biggest fail and most unsafe is pouring too much resin at a time, causing hidden thermal cracks, which will cause you a problem when you go to turn it. So take your time, guys. Don't be pouring too much.
Well, we've been sat here now at 55 minutes, and this is only now getting to a stage where it's getting ready to I mean, we're only now at 48 degrees. So we're now getting ready to a stage where we can start mixing in our colours.
And Mark Shopdog says, if you want to watch somebody about resin, Zach is the man.
He is. Zach is the man. Don't know if he still does weekly lives. He used to do a weekly live and on different.
He was on yesterday anyway.
There you go then. Yeah. So he's on quite often, and Zach really does know what he's talking about with resin.
So Ruby Claire's asking a question. Once hardened, some resins are soft and others are brittle. Which are the best to use?
Polyester resin is I personally prefer polyester resin to get a polish on it because it's a harder resin, but epoxy resin is easier to turn. If you use polyester resin, because it's so hard, if you're not careful, you get chips in it. Where the epoxy resin is a little bit softer and it's a little bit more kind to your tools. But to get a finish, you get a better finish on polyester. I've only ever used epoxy and polyester. I know there's several different other types of resins out there, so I can't talk for those. Like I said, I've never tried aluminite, so I don't know about that one either.
So Mark has said he's not done a marble effect, but you're thinking like I would.
Right, okay. All right, so I'm going to drop that on there then, and then run that through. I don't want too much black in it, because we'll just go.
And he's also answered Ruby's. He says, as long as your tools are sharp, you should be okay. Yeah, that's
as far as.
That's always good advice, no matter what you're turning. Yeah. Keep your tools sharp.
That's as far as I'm going to go with that, because I don't want too much black in it. So I'll pour the rest of the black into this.
Yeah, I did see, right enough, I was just thinking about that conversion of the paint pots. Jake definitely did one. I remember seeing that one. It's a good little video too.
So any resin I have left, I pour into a pot, and you just leave it to do what it's got to do, and then use it for something to turn. So that's going to go like a motley grey colour. So hopefully that'll be fine. Right, so we'll leave that one where that is, because if I move it, it's going to mix it more than I want. So I'll just go back on the overhead so you can just quickly see what I've done with that. Should have set the stream deck up really, shouldn't I?
Yeah, kind of.
So what I've done is I've just put a few lines and I've just run my stick through it. So hopefully that's mixed a little, and as the heat gets into it, that will mix a little bit better. So hopefully that should give me that vein look through the middle of it. I don't want a massive vein for it, just a little hint of it. So now let's try these.
Yeah. Nice piece of resin. Or nice piece of marble.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Should
hoping.
I say?
Right, so let's try these little. So I want to try these pigments that come from the range. So we've got red, silver. Try the red, silver, and gold, and then I also want to try some of these camellia flakes. So what I'm going to try is I'm going to try the ones that are made by Let's Resin. Emmers are exactly the same, but I'm using Emmers for other things, so we'll try these ones. So a little bit of resin.
So Mark is being very nice here. He says, "Can I just say, with practice and knowing what you're doing, brackets, I can give advice via chat or Instagram.
There you go.
It is possible to do pours with no bubbles."
All right, so let's get a stick. Famous lollipop sticks. Move them out of the way.
Mark is also saying that he regularly does resin pours without a pot.
Yeah, I never put my. The only reason I'm putting that way, if I'd have just been doing a resin bowl with no wood or nothing, I wouldn't have put it in the pressure pot. It's only because I've put wood in it that I've put it in the pressure pot. Just going to pop these bubbles around this outer edge. So we're going to use a bit of red first. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically stick my stick in it and then mix it in the resin.
Ruby is asking, how do you clean your pots?
I don't. I throw them away, Ruby.
The little plastic mixing tubs.
Yeah, throw them away.
You just throw them away. Yeah.
So that's a translucent red. Let me just put that on side camera. You might see it if I put it on side camera. That one there.
That's better.
So if I can just slide that back a little tiny bit. So you can just see us a little translucent red. So it mixes in all right.
Is that the inks?
This is the red ink that come from the range.
That is nice and red. Wow.
And it's a proper red, isn't it? Not a pinky red.
Indeed. It's a hard colour to get to, red.
So that's the red.
According to Stephen and Martin. I mean, Martin tried to do the red wax.
Yeah.
Ended up with hot pink. It was cool.
So let's try the silver. So again, not putting a massive amount on, just a little tiny bit. Mixing fine, no reaction between the resin and the water-based ink. You can see that's quite a nice silver. Again, you could put a little bit more in if you wanted to make it a little bit more prominent.
Yeah, Ruby says, I meant the little cups he's mixing in. No, these little cups that Steve's mixing in now are just little shot glasses. And I just throw them away. And the bigger ones that he uses are single use as well.
Yeah, they're the bigger ones are paint, automotive paint mixing.
Martin's confirming that a red wax is a nightmare to make. We know, Martin. But you made a good try at it.
We look forward to when it does come out.
And Mark says he has an Asda plastic shopping bag sitting in the bottom of his pressure pot just in case there's a leak at any time.
Yeah.
That's a good idea too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got a bin bag in the bottom of mine.
Yeah. Something you can just lift out and throw away.
Right, so this is the gold. Put a couple of drops in first. So we get a nice.
Andy has suggested that, Ruby, if you use silicone mixing pots, I've got a few of them actually, you can clean them with wet wipes.
Well, if you've got silicone ones, once that's dry, they should peel out.
It's just peel off, yeah. Just allow it, you get allowed to dry, and it should just peel off anyway.
So there's the gold. That's actually quite nice, isn't it, that gold?
Starting to think that's your favourite colour.
That is, that gold is. I love that gold.
Martin has just put in the hot pink is a super colour, though. It is, Martin. We're agreeing with you, yeah.
Right, so for now, for these pigments.
All the colours are nice, Martin.
Let's try this one. These are going to go everywhere, I know they are. Don't want a lot of these in here, do I? Get a pair of tweezers, really. Let me move this camera quickly.
Tweezers? This the flakes you're putting in there, yeah?
Yeah, just a few, not a lot. I did one, didn't I, where I did gold leaf flakes. So this is very similar sort of principle, I suppose. Really? Move that there. Right, so these flakes are really fine, as you can see. So I'm just going to get a few.
Mark makes a good suggestion. You could save and clean your yogurt tubs for mixing. Good indeed. There's lots of things come in tubs like that nowadays.
I do keep, if we have tubs in the house, plastic tubs, I do keep them for mixing in. But
could you use paper cups?
You
know, like the ones you get for hot drinks and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I've never really thought about them. Perhaps I put
because it would save adding more plastic to landfill, wouldn't it?
Definitely. So I've put a little bit too many flakes in there.
This is a good question, Susie. Will the flakes swim to the top or sink to the bottom?
They should.
We're about to find out, Susie.
Yeah. If you're using glitter, they can float to the top, or depending on the size of the glitter, really. I've had glitter that floats to the top and I've had it that sinks to the bottom, so depends on. But what you can normally do is, if you just keep stirring it as it's curing,
you keep it suspended.
Yeah, and as it's going to start to cure, you just keep stirring it, and that'll just hopefully keep it floating enough. Because as the resin cures, it causes a thermal reaction, so it swirls like hot water. So hot comes to the top and then drops down. You can see. Can you see that steaming now? Look, where it's starting to cure. Look, see it steaming?
Oh yeah, so we can.
So that's all now starting to cure. So that's now going to go up to
what temperature is that now, Steve? If it's not too hard to ask.
That's now 110 degrees.
Oh.
So that's now curing. So what happens is if you're doing like a tub like this, what happens is as a thermal reaction, the heat stops at the bottom, comes to the top and swirls. So it will.
Oh yeah.
It will mix a little bit. Yeah, a
bit
like
a convection current.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yep. So it will mix them a little bit, but obviously if you can keep them mixed, if you can, but you can see the actual flakes are not really dropping. So I'm going to put those in a slightly bigger tub. So
Leap and Lemur has just said, don't use wax-lined cups. That's when I was talking about the paper cup things.
Oh, right, okay.
She says they can interfere with your resin you're using. That's a good hint to it. Thank you for that. Ben. And Andy says, I use ice cream tubs, because it gives you an excuse to buy ice cream. Good idea.
I'm just going to pour a bit more in these tubs here.
There are lots of things that come in plastic tubs that you could use, rather than buying something and throwing it away. Yeah, Douglas, I actually don't think it's actually the coffee cups that you buy actually have a plastic insert, a plastic liner in the inside of them. I don't think it's wax. We're done about Barry's got to go. I'll catch the rest on catch up.
See you later, Barry. Thanks for coming over.
Ooh, look at that. That looks nice.
So just semi-transparent. So I'm just going to do the same with this one because I put too many flakes in that little tiny pot.
Is that what I was going to say? Is that flakes? I was going to say, could you have you got the dust as well? No.
The powders, yeah, I have.
Yeah, because there was a question: would the dust be better than the flakes?
Well, I think the powders is going to be like a normal resin pigment, aren't they?
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
So they're going to work
And
like a
that was
pearlescent.
Kevin Nike asked that question.
Yeah, they're going to act like a. Oops. Careful, I don't drop that. Let's just put a little bit more in that one. Put the lid back on that one before I knock it over. So I did a chest piece for Nick's and Mitty this way with glitter, semi-transparent. Yep. Cool, that was a long while ago. That was when I first started turning. That was
a year or two ago now.
So as you can see, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that very well on the camera? Or not?
Yeah, right. Can see it. Yeah.
See if I can zoom in a little tiny bit. That should. The flakes are not really. They are sort of hovering, so they're not. You get them sometimes, and you can see them sinking down to the bottom, but they're not really.
Yeah, it kind of looks like they're well distributed throughout it there.
Yeah, they're sort of just. Normally, you can see the glitter and that sinking down, but I think because the flakes are so fine, glitter's quite a bit more coarser, isn't it? So
yeah,
that's a bit heavier. But because they're so fine, they're just sort of staying there. You can't see any of them really dropping down. But I'll leave them as they are, and we will see how they come out. And I'll show you those.
Lucy's asking, where did you get the flakes from, Steve?
These flakes are the ones that Emma Cook used to do, but she doesn't do them ones no more. She does her own ones now, which are these ones, and they come in a different color range. I think there's 9 of these. I'm almost sure there's 9 different ones of these, where there's only 5, I think, in there.
Basically, the place to get them is from Emma the Tiny Turner.
Yeah, Emma Cook. You need to go over and see Emma, or go on to Emma Cook's website, and she will have them on there. If you're going to do them on wood, you need some size and also some black paint to enhance them. But I think that's about as far as we can go, really. Let that cure. This is now starting to go hard because obviously that's now thermal reacted. So that's now starting to go hard. That one there is now gone hard. Wow, that's hot. Damn hot. So we'll leave those to cure. The one in the pot, obviously, we can't really see.
Lucy, there's the link to Emma's website there if you want to pop over and have a look at that. Frederick Day says, he stole his grandchild's Play-Doh pots. Works well.
Same thing, isn't it? As long as it works, that's the main thing, isn't it?
But then he bought some more, so that's bad. Didn't just steal them. Anthony Graham says, could you not leave the clear resin to start to harden before adding the flakes? That way they may not sink. You could, yeah.
You could do, but I don't think they're going to sink. I'm not going to touch those. I'm just going to leave those, and we'll look at those next Sunday, and I reckon they'll be like they are now. Because normally, if I'm putting glitter in, I can see the glitter dropping down to the bottom, but that is actually stationary. None of that pigment is moving. And what I like about the Camellia Pigments is as you turn it, you get the greens and the blues with the pigment. So if that works, I may do a bigger blank, and then we could see what it looks like once it's turned. So it may be a bit interesting.
Douglas Milgram says he's cast some resin pen blanks from tubes that the fizzy vitamin tablets come in.
If it works.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I've used 20mm overflow pipe for toilets before for making pen blanks. So put that back in there. They're all rubbish.
Yeah, there was a comment earlier that it's quite difficult to find the right shapes. I think it was Ben. The tricky thing is finding a container shape with a minimal amount of waste.
Yeah.
Which is true, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people use 40mm waste pipe. They use a soil pipe, which is 110mm, and then you can get 6-inch soil pipe as well. I've seen a few of the American guys, they'll make like a mold, perhaps 150, 200mm high with a piece of like 6-inch soil pipe with a bit of wood screwed to the bottom of it. And they'll just keep taking off the end and then knocking it out because it's made of a plastic that it shouldn't stick to. So I think I'll just bring you on overhead so you can see that drying off now.
Robert probably says he bought some from Emma yesterday.
Yeah.
And Kev thinks he may have sold out. She may have sold out again. Oh, that looks.
So hopefully that's going to be our mottle bit there.
Hmm.
That's the lines on it is because of the thermal reaction. Obviously, it's swirled.
Yeah, it's thermal.
Same as that bit there. They always go like that. Don't matter how, but they go like that, but end up like that. So
yeah, you just need to turn that bit off, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. So this is the
Donna,
top.
the love angel, is in. Hi, Donna.
Hi, Donna. So what I'll do once that's cured, I will cut that into 25 by 25 mil blanks, and then hopefully we'll see a nice mottle effect.
So here's a bit of advice from Frederick Day. He said, I had a long discussion with the House of Resin, and they recommend that glitter should be added when the temperature reaches 93 degrees. And it does work for me. It did work for me. Right, aren't they?
Yeah.
Douglas says, whatever can stand the heat and will release. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's for molds, obviously.
Well, you can use spray release.
You can.
Which is
release spray.
Which is just a silicone release spray. You can spray with that. But like you've said, you need to make sure whatever you put it in, the plastic you put in, can withstand the heat. Silicon is great because silicon don't melt until what, 3,000 degrees or 2,000 degrees?
Something like that, yeah.
So I think we can't really go no more than that. So let's come back.
Ian the shed's just arrived. Did he?
Hi, Ian. How the devil are you? So let's come back.
So those little ink colours seem to be fairly stable there, Steve.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, and they're very vibrant and all. Haven't really changed colour. I've only put a little amount in, so we'll see how they come out. Like I say, I'll leave them until next week, and then we'll see how. But that red is really, really nice, really nice. And it's not really. I think if I put a little bit more pigment, it'd be more of a richer red. But it's not a pink red, because sometimes when you mix a red pigment in with resin, it goes pink.
Yep.
Right, so let's come back on here. Right, so I think that's about as far as we can go. Really, just waiting for obviously the U blank is going to take 24 hours to dry.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that in the pressure pot. Pen blanks are going to, even though it's hard, I'll still leave it 24 hours before I even cut it because they'll still be a bit soft in the inside. So that will be left. All that will be left over there now until tomorrow night, and then we'll have a look at them next Sunday. If the blank of the U is good, then we will turn that next Sunday, and we'll hopefully get a bowl out of it. So
Susie is asking, have you ever had a plastic cup melt?
No, I haven't, Susie. Even those little cheap, even these little cheap
little shot glasses.
Yeah, no, never had them melt. Even these. You mean these are only cheap? I get these from my local Booker's, which is like a wholesale place.
Oh yeah, it's little cold drink cups.
Yeah, and I've never had those melt either. I think the reason being is because obviously, yes, that gets hot, but because they're so thin, that can disperse the heat quite quickly. So it may get up to 110, 112 degrees, but it's only there for like 2 minutes. It doesn't really last that long. So I haven't ever had a pot melt. I don't know if anybody else has, but I personally haven't.
Andy has just said that he hasn't either.
No, I have had pots where they've melted to the resin and you can't peel them out. So you have to turn the pot off.
Cut them off.
Yeah. But the best ones I've found, if you want to use, the best ones I've found are these sort of tubs. If you want to do something that sort of size or a bowl, go and buy a cheap mixing bowl. Not cheap mixing bowl, but a good quality but low cost mixing bowl from somewhere like The Range or B&M, somewhere like that, or a wholesaler. If you want to, spray it with a little bit of mold release, but I never do. And if you get an airline down them and just blow down beside them, that normally just pops them out. Or even if you just flex them a little bit, it just breaks the resin seal and they just fall out. So I use them quite a lot. Yes, okay. It's to be honest, that bowl I put in there earlier was £2 or £1.90. You can't even buy a bowl mold for that sort of money. So if you use one of those every 6 months to a year, it's not really costing you a massive amount of money. And like I say, that's perhaps the fourth or fifth bowl I've cast in that one bowl. So it doesn't really, it's cost effective in my eyes. Right, okay, so yeah, sorry, I was reading the chat.
Yeah, I thought you were. Lucy says she saw someone wearing the Makers t-shirt yesterday.
Yeah, Roy had his
very
on.
good.
Roy had his on.
Yep. And then Roy.
It's a good show, really good show.
Andy wants to know, are you turning flowers for Nicky next Sunday? Seeing his Mother's Day.
She ain't my mother.
Nicky's not Steve's mother.
She's not my mother.
Exactly.
I'll get Casey in there turning flowers.
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that one. That's if she's out of bed. Right, so just quickly before we go, a little bit of an announcement. Don't know if you know, but Martin from Hampshire Sheen has been working his backside off to do a finishing academy for all you folk to learn how to use the Hampshire products correctly. Now, what he's done is he's gone through every single product that he makes, and he's done an individual video to teach you each and every one of you how to use the products correctly. So I've got the link here. The link is in the description. So please go over and subscribe to it. But I'm just going to quickly bring it on the screen.
Yep.
Oh, no, not that one. This one here. This one here. This one here.
That's the one.
So you need to go over and obviously sign up for it. So go over and sign up. And what Martin's done is he's done individual lessons for every single product. So you got a lesson for the wax, the colouring, the sanding technique, the finishing, the lacquering, the sand and sealer. So there's no excuse you do not know how to apply the Hampshire Sheen products. Martin spent a lot of time on this, and he's put his heart and soul in it. And there's been a group of people who have tested it for him, and there's been some changes, and I'm sure knowing Martin, there's going to be modifications between now and whenever, because Martin's never happy with his own work, as we all know. He always wants to improve it.
It'll be kept up to date.
It will be kept up to date. So,
and he's just said in the chat that it's live and ready.
It's live and ready. So get into after the live, go into my description, click on the Hampshire Sheen link, and go over and subscribe to the Hampshire Sheen website. And then once you've been notified, you should have access to the finishing academy. And I think anybody, it's free. It's free. It's absolutely, Martin's done this, and it's totally free. So I think that each and every one of you guys in the chat, including myself, will have stuff to benefit from this this finishing academy. So please go over and support Martin. Martin's put a lot of time and effort into to help you guys out. So let's go over and help Martin and support Martin, and just appreciate the hard work he's put into it. So, like I say, the link is in my description, or if you go over to hampshiresheen.com, www.hampshiresheen.com, that will take you over to the Hampshire Sheen website, and you should be able to sign up there and then. So, saying that,
Martin says, click the link, Steve.
Click the link. Oh,
yep.
What link? What link? What link?
I don't know.
This one
find
here.
Out more
this
link,
one here. So there you go. There it is. Look. So there's the finishing academy. You'll have to do a health and safety video first. Obviously,
you'll need to put it back. You'll need to put it back on the screen, Steve.
Oh yeah, that helps. That helps, doesn't it? There you go. So you'll have to do a Hampshire. You'll have to do the health and safety video first, but this will give you everything you need to know, basically. So there you go. Look, join the academy is completely free. You just need to register as a user of Hampshire Sheen products. There you go. Correct. And we all use them.
It's an absolutely fantastic resource, guys. Go and have a look.
Definitely.
Really, go and have a look.
Definitely. Like I say, go over and sign up to it. I would imagine, where is it here? Click and add to your basket below. There's checkout as usual, and then you will be sent a welcome email to help you become the. You're making me laugh. Chopping the carrots. So go over and subscribe to it. Martin will send you a welcome email. Then you'll be able to go over and do the training course, and it's really well worked out. And Martin's put in there sections where you can contact Martin if there's a question you don't quite understand. If it's something you don't understand, there's questions there you can ask Martin. There's also a quiz through it as well. So
quizzes,
yes. I think there's a quiz after every section, if I remember rightly. So go over and look at it. Really, really, please do. It's really, really good.
You're welcome, Andy. Andy says, great demo, Steve. Thanks for it, and thanks for earworming, Brian. You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for earworming, Brian. Even without chopping, he's put. Who's that? Michael McCurry. So there you go. Martin's put, cheers very much. There are over 3 hours of ad-free HD videos content there for you. Just join and enjoy. Thank you very much, Martin.
We will, Martin. Thank you very much for doing that.
Martin, I say from myself and everybody else, thank you very much for doing it. We do appreciate it.
Yep, I certainly do.
So nobody's got any excuses that they can't use the Hampshire Sheen range now. Martin should never get another email now saying, how did my wax don't quite polish up? Why is that?
well, he's got the perfect answer now, hasn't he? Send them back the link.
Please follow this link. Right, so I think we're going to go. Right, so
good idea.
No Terry tomorrow lunchtime, but he's on tonight. Have we got the link?
He's on tonight, 7 o'clock.
Have we got the link for Terry?
Oh God, I forgot to get the link. Hold on, 2 seconds, I'll get it.
So Terry's doing Sunday evenings now, and God help us. So it starts at 7. So
God help us, right.
Starts at 7. So we should be finished by 11:30, 11:45, something like that. So
here it comes.
So I believe someone else is doing lunchtime. Who's doing Monday lunchtimes now, Brian?
Paul Finley's trying to do Monday lunchtime. And Paul Finley would turning at home. The link will be shared out. I'm going to do some work with him this afternoon just to make sure he's all set up and ready to go. There's a link for this evening for Terry this evening. And we'll publicise if once I'm finished this afternoon with Paul, we'll publicise his and let you know when that is.
Good. And you're on tomorrow night?
I'm on tomorrow night.
Right.
No link for that yet. I haven't done it yet.
Right. Okay. Then. So thank you.
But it will be 7 o'clock tomorrow night.
So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming over and joining us. Hope you've enjoyed. Hope this resin thing hasn't been too boring for you. Hope there's a little bit of inspiration there to maybe have a go kill a few turtles, as Pete would say.
I absolutely needed that. I'll maybe have a go now.
It's not don't be frightened of it. It's like everything. It's just trial and error. You know, at the end of the day, I just like mixing new stuff with it and seeing how it turns out. That's how I like it. But anyway, so right, guys, we're going to go. So anyway, I'm going to move this camera quickly before I fall over the wire before I press the button. So guys, if I don't see you before, I will see you during the week. Other than that, I will see you Friday. What's Friday? It's Friday the 17th. I think a special guest airworm next Friday. Ooh, I think it is.
Yeah, you had to change it from the 24th, didn't you?
Yeah, because we're doing the Battle of the Makers on the 24th now, not the 31st, because I unfortunately have a club demo, or not unfortunately, but I have a club demo on the 31st at DIS. So we've had to move everything forward. So special guest airworm next Friday. I'm not going to tell you who it is because it's a surprise. I'm not even going to tell Brian who it is. Ooh. So it's going to be a surprise.
I'm excited.
It's going to be a surprise.
I'm excited. I can't wait. Ooh.
So come over and join us for that. Other than that, I'll see you in the week. Have a great week, guys. Take care. Speak to you soon. And bye for now. Say night, Brian.
Bye, guys.
See you later, guys. Bye.
That's all, folks.